incredibly jarring it can be when the formatting for these various supplemental documents isn't consistent. It just shows, you know, your professionalism and attention to detail.
The most consistently requested supplemental material for artists, for art projects, is the work sample. So let's talk a little bit about that. Work sample material should effectively represent your talent and capacity to complete the proposed project. Work samples should be relevant to the proposal. For example, when a grant supports interdisciplinary projects, send examples representing a variety of disciplines. Include book projects and animations and painting if your project's multidisciplinary. If it's for a proposal that is just for a painting project, only include your best paintings. Choose works that reference your plan. Part of proposing a grant is to convince the funder that you can achieve it. If you are a sculptor proposing a video project, don't just include images of sculptures. Include a short video to show your capability with the medium that you are proposing. Funders will also often ask for work samples with very specific guidelines. For example, a 3-minute clip posted on YouTube, or 10 pages of screenplay, size 12 fonts, double-spaced. Work samples are about showing your artistic excellence and capacity in the most compelling way, given the parameters.
Now let's take a look at this video work sample. The work sample that we're looking at here is just powerful because it shows the audience interaction. It shows many of the pieces at the exhibition, and it sort of gives the viewer a sense of what it's like to experience the project. The criterion for this work sample was up to a minute of video that shows audience interacting with the work.
Okay, let's go through some final tips. Know what you want to do, write your story, and find funders to fit you.
Know that there is no scarcity of money or funders, only your capacity to get the money.
Write clearly and concisely. Let your style and passion ring through.
Make sure that your budget follows your narrative and that your narrative follows your plan or mission.
Double check your math, the best budget balance.
Start your grant writing process early.
Always be documenting. You might have to barter, DIY, or hire someone, but those pictures and videos literally turn into funding.
Persist. Think of the grant application process as gambling. It's a chance to win, but only if you keep playing.
Cultivate relationships with funders and potential funders. You got this! We believe in you!
We're now going to take the time to open up the floor for any further questions. Again, you are on mute, but you can also use the chat function, top center, second button from the left if you want to ask questions. Oh, EP, did we properly answer your question about budgeting? Oh, yes, great.
EP was saying they were glad that they're not alone, and I agree. You're absolutely not alone. No lie, budgets can be really hard and frustrated sometimes, especially if those categories are different. Yes, I would definitely recommend that you align your accounting practices with data art. Okay. Thank you all so much for attending. I'm going to assume there's no other questions. As a reminder, this webinar will live as a permanent resource on the QCP2. Oh, we have one more question. While Erin's typing that question, I'll just remind you that this webinar will live on the QCC2.org website.
I see that Susie asks, do we need to be a 501c3 to receive funding? Short answer, not necessarily.
That's a great question. So almost all funders do insist that organizations be one of the following. You either do need to be a registered 501c3 organization, or you can be fiscally sponsored by a 501c3 organization. And it is very important to look for that in the guidelines because there are some funders who will only fund registered 501c3 organizations. But the majority of foundations and government entities actually will fund organizations that are fiscally sponsored by nonprofit organizations. And so if you are not a 501c3, maybe you wish to be someday, you can partner with another organization to fiscally sponsor you. And if you have more specific questions about that or any questions about grant writing, please don't hesitate to email me at ksmith@queerculturalcenter.org. Erin also asks, any suggestions for organizations with multiple people seeking grants for multiple projects? Well, I'm not for sure exactly in what vein you're asking for suggestions, but I will say that one of the exciting things about organizations with multiple people seeking grants for multiple projects is all of the funding possibilities that exist for that organization. So many funders really, especially in the foundation world, might only fund one issue area or maybe two issue areas. And so when you have lots of different issue areas or potential programs or potential people with different interests, you actually might increase the overall ability of your organization to be funded in terms of it being able to secure funding from a variety of funders. With that being said, of course, that also means that you have to have very careful accounting practices in terms of budgets and what organizations are funding what programs and what staff members so that you can report out on those as honestly as possible. If there's other questions about that's kind of a big question. I would be happy to talk with you more about that if you wanted to email me as well. I'm going to give one more minute for any other questions. Okay. As a reminder, this webinar will live as a permanent resource on the QCP2.org website at qcp2.org/grant-writing-101/. If there's any further questions, please email me, ksmith@queerculturalcenter.org.
Thanks for your participation, y'all.
Thank you.